nights where the sun don't shine and the rain don't sleep. Where the freaks run free from the drugs they take till they R.I.P. From the land by the sea where the grass is green and the sound stay deep. It smells like Teen Spirit 253 till I die.
Greetings to Comptonites. Welcome to episode 1 of the Compton Files podcast. This time we're just going to be kind of talking about what the podcast is about, what we'll be going over, what to expect, what not to expect. Most of this is going to be recaps, weekly recaps of shit that went on in the city, Pierce County area, craziness, crime, you name it. Stuff we usually post about. Maybe top posts of the week, that kind of stuff. You're gonna have to excuse me because I just had a couple of fucking wisdom teeth ripped out and voice a little messed up, face a little swollen. You know, it's all good. So one of the things is just like when you're watching an episode of Cops where they say people are innocent until proven guilty in court of law, same thing kind of goes here. A lot of these reports I put out are initial reports from the scanner, and when the cops get there, sometimes they find out that's not exactly what happened. Maybe it was underinflated, overinflated. Maybe it's just complete bullshit because the person that called in has mental health issues. They were just mad at somebody, or they wanted the cops to get there really fast. So they said that the person had a gun or something stupid like that. So when I report on this stuff, I will not put names on this whatsoever. Maybe a first name here and there. Always a description if the person's outstanding. But unless the news has already put out something saying that somebody's been charged, when somebody gets charged, it's a little bit different. You can say, hey, this person was charged for this crime that they're being accused for. Same thing goes, though. They haven't been convicted of that. It's up to a jury to find them guilty, not guilty. So always remember that. One very important thing to remember is that I am not a cop. I've never been a cop. I probably won't ever be a cop. Nothing wrong with being a cop, but I am not the person that you report crime to. If you want your crime solved, you need to call the police. If it's an emergency, dial 911. If it's not an emergency, call the non-emergency number for your area. I cannot go solve crime or anything like that, so I can't tell you how many times I have tried to pass information on to the police and just to find out that nobody ever reported it and there's absolutely nothing they can do with this information until the victim themselves calls in or an actual witness of the crime calls in. Now, there have been a bunch of times where a crime has been reported, maybe not by the person that has sent me information, but since there's already a case opened, I can pass that information along. Seems like a lot of people in Tacoma, for some reason, are scared to talk to the cops one way or another, or for one reason or another. And they'll say, hey, I want this information passed along, but I don't want to be involved in this, or I don't want my name involved in it. And I try to do that as much as I can. I don't read a lot of private messages. We'll get into that in another episode, why. But if it comes up to the police needing information, or if it's it's really important information in a case, especially like a homicide or something, they might ask where I got that information, and I'm gonna have to tell them who sent it to me. I can't cock block the cops. I'm not gonna get myself in any trouble for that. So I try to respect people's I guess their being anonymous or whatever the hell you want to call it, but to an extent I can do that, but if they come knocking on my door and they need names, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. So just be aware of that. I'm still in here working on my little recording area right now, so shit's not perfect. Acoustics aren't great. A lot of background noise, kids walking around, dogs walking around, furnace turning on, so you guys are gonna have to be patient. This is kind of a rough start for me here. Pretty close to having this place done, but it's a lot of work and I've had a lot of other shit going on, a lot of stuff to do, so just be patient with me. Hopefully it'll get better. This is also kind of a test for my microphone to see how the audio sounds, see how much I hate my own voice like everybody does. I'm sure you hate my voice too. I got stuff to figure out. This is all pretty new to me, so I just ask for a little bit of patience and hopefully we'll get there. Now I'd like to throw out some shout outs for some people that helped me get here where I am today. Number one, I'd like to give a big shout out to Grit City Podcast for inspiring me to do a crime podcast. if you have anything that you want to talk about or you want to hear about that's Tacoma related, that's not crime related, I really suggest you check out their podcast. There's some really cool dudes, super chill, fun to hang out with. They got a great podcast for Tacoma area shit that goes on. Another shout out I'd love to give is to Diggy Graves, a local artist here in Tacoma. He's got an album. You can find it basically anywhere, Spotify, YouTube. He's very active on Instagram. He's also on Facebook, and he allowed me to use his song for the intro and the outro for this podcast. So check out Diggy Graves. Thanks, bud. The name of the song that we pulled this intro outro from is actually called Pack Ave, which is pretty awesome because my first house, I've lived in the city my whole life, but first house I lived in was on Pack Ave, right down the street. So pretty cool, I thought. Pretty fitting. So for each episode, I'm kind of thinking maybe shooting for 15 to 30 minutes, depending on, what kind of content we got. If it's some sort of big event that we're going through, or we're really, chopping something up and trying to digest it, I might go a little bit farther into it. If we have some guests, maybe it'll go a little bit longer. I don't anticipate having a ton of guests, but if I do, they will be related to the page in some way, whether it's, maybe somebody that works in maybe city or police or dispatcher. Perhaps I've had some conversations with some of the local stringers, such as Southside 911, Matthew Washam, people like that. I think that could add some benefit, some perspective to this podcast. I think those are the type of people we'll have on as guests on here, but there probably won't be a ton of them, to be honest with you. Someone who I think would be great to have on this podcast would be some of the local PIOs, like for Tacoma Police Department, or maybe Sergeant Moss from Pierce County Sheriff's Department, or a couple of those types of folks. If you didn't know what a PIO is, it's the Public Information Officer. So their job is to speak with the media when there's something big or the media asks for information on something. They're the ones that you're going to see on camera giving those details out to the news. You'll see them in the interviews and stuff like that. Or if you see press releases on their social media, which is finally taken off on a lot of these police departments, thankfully, kind of put me out of a hobby, which is which is good though. You'd rather hear it from the horse's mouth, right? So it'd be great to have some of them on, get some of their perspective, see how they got where they are. Did they want to be a PIO? Stuff like that. Another good guess I think would be to have is uh, maybe the guy that runs the Pierce County Scanner slash Scanner live stream. If you're on the website, it's called that. If you're looking at the app, it's Pierce County Scanner. But he basically is giving us a way to play back scanner audio, listen to multiple agencies live. It's a great tool. If you don't already use this, you're freaking missing out. Another thing I was thinking about going through on this is like tutorials on how to do things, how I find some of my info, how you can find some of the same info, where I get my stuff from as far as sources, what kind of pages I follow. I'd love to do like videos to show you guys how to use the website links, how to go through the DOC website. I mean, there's tons of tools out there that are available. You can do most of the stuff that I do, you can do yourself. A lot of people think I have these magic tools or insider secrets or something, but this is all stuff that's available to all of us. I just know where to find it, and I like to put it in one spot so everybody can find it. In reality, that's kind of how this page started, was me taking info I was finding in other places and trying to put it in one local spot. But that's also going to be a part of another episode. I'd love to take some suggestions from you guys on what you'd like to hear, things I can improve on, how's the volume sound, things like that. This is all very new to me, so pretty open to constructive criticism here, so help me out. One thing you guys can do to help me get this podcast going is to share it, listen whenever you can, share it on your other socials, Facebook, Insta, whatever the hell you have going on there. Uh, I don't know if I'm really going to get into doing things like TikTok as of right now. Maybe for some of the videos or some voiceover stuff. I do have a YouTube page, it's primarily where I post scanner audio now. I don't post a whole lot there, but I'd like to get a little more stuff going on there if possible. Instagram's not great for my platform because it's more for photos and stuff. So I could post like a stock photo, throw some information on a post or something on there. But this, it doesn't seem like that's really what it's designed for, is my type of application. But I'll still dual post on there sometimes. Twitter's not really my thing. X, whatever the hell you want to call it now. Not really been my style either. I might start working on there here and there too. If there's an easy way for me to cross post or something, I might do that. Anyway, I think that's going to be enough for today. Hopefully, next time you hear my voice, it won't sound as slurry. My mouth should be healed up by then, I'd hope. But anywho, this is the Compton Files, out of service. Good night.
It smells like Teen Spirit 253 till I die.